zu.
So today I'm kind of excited about today's video. It's like kind of bittersweet, weird to say that I'm excited to record this, but it's actually because today I'm going to be talking about a conference that I went to. It's called Parents of Murdered Children Conference. I'm just going to go right into it. I'm not going to beat around the bush. So the summer of 2013, I went to this conference, and honestly, you guys, it changed the way I saw so many things about the whole situation that happened with my brother. And I think it had to do with all the support that I got, especially being able to go and meet people who have been through what you've been through and can kind of either give you advice for those who have already been through it, or simply be there to listen and simply kind of relate, I guess you can say, even though a lot of these cases, murder cases, are very different. So POMC is like what it's called, so I'm going to keep calling it POMC. I just think it's so sad to kind of keep calling it Parents of Murdered Children. So the vision statement for Parents of POMC, I'm going to say POMC, for POMC is to provide support and assistance to all survivors of homicide victims while working to create a world free of murder. So that is the vision statement. I think we were introduced to this by my dad's work, if I'm not mistaken, and the first year we went to Cincinnati, Ohio. I loved it. It was kind of nice to finally go on vacation after, you know, the whole incident that had happened back in January, because we probably went like July, August, because it was summer. It happens every summer, and they always change it. So like the second year that I went, we went to Minnesota. The third year I went, it was in Vegas. And then after that, I stopped going, but I know my parents have gone to Denver, and I forgot where the other place was at. And then like this year, it was supposed to be in Atlanta, Georgia. So obviously it was canceled due to the coronavirus and all that. But pretty much, if you guys see me looking, I'm looking at my notes because obviously I can't use my phone because I'm recording on my phone, or else I'll be using my phone as notes. But I just want to make sure that I touch base on things that I wanted to talk about today. So POMC pretty much is for families and friends who have died by violence. So you can be a parent, you can be a sibling, you can be a friend, you can be an aunt or uncle, like just pretty much anyone. Like as long as you kind of like have a tidy way, even if you want to learn, it's up to you. So so the first day that it starts, it's like on a Thursday. It's pretty much Thursday to Sunday. So Thursday is kind of the day you go to like not orientation, but like you go pick up your packet and like all that, because it's the whole weekend. So they give you a packet to let you know what are the different workshops, and you can choose what workshops you want to go to. They even give you a little like necklace thingy majiggy. They put your name, and they, like for mine said Yolanda Garza, and it said sibling because obviously I was a sibling. And then they do provide like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but obviously like that's why it costs to go to these conferences and all that. And so the first day of like actual I forgot to mention, so like on Thursday they unveil the murder wall. I know that sounds really horrific, but pretty much the murder wall is pretty much a wall of all the victims that have been murdered. I mean, at least if you've been to the conference and you've submitted a photo of your loved one, you get put on the murder wall. And so they unveil the murder wall on Thursday, which is the first day, which is what commemorates like the whole thing, and that's how everything starts. And they do a whole ceremony for it, and then after that we kind of get to hang out with everyone. And then Friday is kind of like when everything starts, like the workshops and the groups and everything. So obviously my favorite workshop, I guess you can say, was the sibling, the sibling support group. So obviously my parents went to the parent support group. Actually, I think there's like a father support group, and then a mother support group, and then a sibling support group. So that's kind of cool too, because I'm pretty sure, I can't speak from them, but I'm almost positive a father grieves very differently from like how a mother grieves. Like given that, you know, a father's supposed to protect his family, and then a mother actually carries her children. So I feel like it's a totally different kind of bond. You know what I mean? So with the sibling group, you guys, honestly, just being in the sibling group changed my life. If this whole conference was just a sibling group, like honestly, I would love it. Like, I mean, the other workshops are really good, and I'll talk about another workshop that really changed my life not want to say changed my life, but kind of gave me peace. But the sibling group was the main, how can I say this, like the main thing for me. Like it resonated with me, hearing all these other people, how they're going through it. And I think the most important thing that I guess you can say learned is that the way siblings actually grieve. And that's a whole nother video in itself, guys, but I can honestly talk about that for a while, but maybe I can go into like a little detail. But like the way siblings grieve, a lot of people say is actually similar to a parent, because some, we have a big impact on our siblings' life, and our siblings are our first friends. Like we're the ones who spend, the siblings, what I'm trying to say is spend the most time, with that person. So like I've spent a lot more time than anyone can say in my brother's life. Like I've spent the most time next to him, if that makes sense. So like my grandma can't say that, my parents can't say that, his little friends can't say that, like nobody can say that other than me. Like I'm the person that has spent my whole life with him, pretty much, or his whole life with me. So I think it's sometimes, I don't want to say harder for a sibling, but like that's our normal. Like that's, it's just a different type of love. It's a different, but a lot of people do say that we kind of grieve as parents, especially because as siblings, we kind of, when these things happen, we get so caught up taking care of our parents that we almost forget about ourselves, that we become the parent. So I'm like literally going into a whole video about it. It's okay. Like I'll just talk about more, because I really do believe that this is really, really, really important, because I thought I was crazy for a long time. I thought I was being selfish because I was being forgotten and everything. But your parents are going through it too. And I don't want to go too much in detail, because honestly, that's like a whole video in its own. Like I can talk about that for a while, because I went through that for a few months till I went to this, conference. Like I really thought that I was alone and that I was going crazy, and I didn't have anyone, and because everyone around you is mourning, like I said in my past video. But like the sibling group, it is crazy. And like this might sound kind of sad, but you go to this group and pretty much we sit around in a circle and we all talk about our story, like what happened to our sibling, what happened to our loved one. And sometimes you sit there and think like, wow, like it could have been worse. Because like for me, for example, like I hear about these women who were raped, and these women who were tortured, and even men who were tortured. And it's like my brother was stabbed and it was done. And I didn't talk about that in my last video, but yes, my brother was stabbed and that's how he was murdered. And so it's kind of crazy, like listening to everyone's story. Not that it makes you feel better, because it doesn't. It kind of makes you in a way sadder, but then again, it's like, dude, like this could have been worse. Like what I went through with my brother was bad, but I know so many more people out there who have it worse. And it's like a lot of people who didn't get justice, a lot of people who don't even know who killed, their loved one. They just kind of know what happened, obviously, because of like medical examiners and like autopsies and all that. But it is crazy, like the stories you hear. It's and you know what, it makes you feel normal, because when I tell my story to a normal person who hasn't been through violence or anything, they're like, oh my god, and like, how do you get through it, and oh my god. And like, whereas when you go to your sibling group, it's almost like, okay, like they're listening, and it's almost like they understand, and obviously each how do you say it, each story is different, and you grieve differently still, but you can empathize with them and kind of understand where they're coming from, because as a sibling, especially because in that group we're all siblings, we can kind of lean on each other with support. And I'll never forget someone telling me like, oh my god, you're so strong. And like I've heard that from like a lot of people, but people who have never gone through this, hearing it from a person who has gone through it is kind of different. It hits different. It's almost like someone who's also gone through what I've gone through, and we talk, it's like, oh my god. Like I'm not saying that if your sibling had cancer, I'm not saying that it hurts me more because my brother, his life was taken by another person, not by an illness. Hell no. I don't know what's scarier, like waiting for your loved one to pass away because they have cancer, or just it's suddenly happening. Like, I think both are pretty bad, like equally traumatizing, if that makes sense. But I think it's just different. Just like I'm not gonna understand how they feel because they had to see their sibling go through that, and you know, that's, I don't even want to think about that. That's another thing. But it's just different when you kind of have different, like, same circumstances. Because if you tell me like, oh my god, like, I mean, it still hurts no matter what because your sibling's gone, but it's just different when your sibling is murdered by someone. And like I said, I'm not saying it hurts more because I can't imagine losing my brother either. Anyway, whatever. It's just having to think about, you know, someone really went out there and with their thought and their, like, they intentionally did it, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like that's a different kind of, just, it's different. Anyway, so I'm gonna move on. But I love my sibling support group, guys. Like, you have no idea. One of my favorite siblings that I've met, and I call them like siblings because their sibling passed away. One of them, oh my god, I have her on Instagram. Her name's Stacy, and she's the sweetest. I cannot, like, I think I met her either my first or second year there, and now we kind of like keep in touch. And you know what, with a lot of our family keep in touch. Like, one of my other favorites is Samantha. Oh my god, I love her. She's a ball of joy. And even though this is a really sad conference, it's not sad until Saturday dinner, because Saturday dinner is when they do the memorial and they put your loved one's face on there. And it's kind of crazy because while they did the memorial, when they give you lights, so they, like, when the dinner starts, you get to eat and all that, and then they have like the table set up, and on the table they already have a light there for you to light. It's kind of like a candle, and you light it when your sibling comes on, or your loved one, I guess you can say. So when this is gonna start, they turn off all the lights, and it's kind of, oh, I'm getting the chills. And it's I'm not gonna cry, but it's kind of crazy. Like, you're sitting there and you just start seeing like the lights turn on around the room, and it kind of like hits you because that's very powerful. It's like you're in a room full of darkness, and then you see like lights coming on, like little by little, because you're seeing how many families are there for their loved one. Oh my god, I think I was gonna cry with this one, but I forgot about that. For some reason it came to my mind because I haven't been to the conference since like 13, 14, 2015. So it's been a while, so I kind of forgot. But right now that I'm like replaying the conference in my head, everything comes back to me. And I think that's the saddest part of the whole, you know, conference, is Saturday night's dinner. It's either Saturday or Friday night's dinner, I don't remember. But when that part happens, I'm pretty sure it's Saturday. It's crazy. It's so emotional. It's so surreal. Like, there's not a dry eye in the room during that, because it's like a slideshow. And then when your loved one comes on, you turn on your light, and it's crazy. So yeah, like Samantha, she's like the ball of light too. I love seeing her when I did go and everything. And another person that I love to see is Steve Roberts. I'm just hoping that they see my video and they're gonna see like how much of an impact they've made on my life, because the messed up crap they've gone through, oh my god, Steve's story just kills me. It breaks my heart. And he's a father. He lost his daughter. And just hearing all these stories sometimes, you guys, it's sad. It's like, dang, like. And then the fact that, you know, my brother was 17 and everyone's like, oh, he's so young. No, you guys hear about people who were 8, people who were like 6, people. It's just another out of body experience. Like, it's crazy. But those are like my 3 favorite people from POMC. I've always looked forward to seeing them when I went to the conferences. It's different. And my Chicago family, which Samantha's part of that Chicago family, like, I love seeing them. Like, they always make my heart happy. But so that's another good thing, is like you get to bond with people that have gone through what you've gone through, and it's just kind of really exciting to see them too. So it's exciting at the same time while it's sad, you know. But another really amazing workshop that I went to, it's called like a medical, you go to like see a medical examiner, and you can ask them questions. Like, you can ask them like, oh, did my loved one suffer? Did they die fast? Did, you know, like, or did I know this and that about what I found like how can I explain this? Like, oh, like, you know, she was hit in the head, like, do you know if she suffered, like stuff like that. So with me, obviously my brother, I'm sure a lot of people know, was stabbed right in the heart. So when I went to see the medical examiner, I was by myself, which was kind of crazy because me and my parents, I think it was our first year, and we just wanted to kind of go back to the hotel room and brainstorm and tell them what we learned from that certain workshop. So we went to different workshops. And with this workshop, this is the one that resonates with me. I went to a lot, but this one resonates with me the most because it kind of gave me peace. So, you know, a lot of my brother's friends felt like, well, if I went, I would have saved him. If I went, blah, 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 and like all this stuff. But with my brother, I asked him, I'm like, well, you know, X, Y, and Z happened, and I told him the whole story and how he died, and what pretty much killed him was, you know, the puncture to the heart. And I asked him, like, was there any ounce of my brother living? I mean, could he really have been saved? And he told me, he's all like, the only way your brother had even a minuscule chance of living was if they had left the knife in his heart. And obviously they didn't. You know, he went boom, boom, out, you know? And like, as crazy as it sounds, that, you know, you're like, oh my God, like, but it's like, okay, well, at least, because I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but I was there. So I don't think I ever lived with that guilt, because I really do feel like we try to help him as much as we can. We applied pressure to his wounds. We did everything we're supposed to do. And I'm 18. Like, I didn't even know I knew I needed to do that. And honestly, it was more my best friend Joe who kind of like snapped into like survival mode. Hey guys, apply pressure, give me this, do this, like, you know what I mean? Because I was almost distraught. I couldn't do anything. So I was just kind of there for like support for my brother, because he was like conscious, but then he fell unconscious. But like when the medical examiner told me that, it was almost like a sigh of relief in a way, because sometimes I would think, like, I never really felt guilty, but I feel like because of my brother's friends, like, they would like, well, if I was there, you know, I could have saved him. And it's like, I'm sorry, but now, especially talking to a medical examiner, it's like, no, like, there was no way of saving him. It's like, it was his time. And honestly, people are like, well, what were you doing in that side of town, you know? And I was like, well, we didn't know better. I need to put that out there too. Like, we didn't know better. I mean, we were sheltered most of our life, like, you know, so we didn't, and we always saw the best in people. Like, I don't know how to explain it to you. We never discriminated. We didn't care where you came from. Like, we're still gonna hang out with you kind of thing. Those kind of, you know, we were raised that way. So we didn't realize that we were in gang territory is pretty much how I can explain it to you guys. But, yeah, like, the medical examiner really like helped me a lot, especially learning other things that I've learned recently. And I might go into that in another video, maybe whenever I feel like talking about what really happened that night. But that's another thing that I need to shed light on, but I don't think this video is for it. So I talked about the murder wall. And then another really cool thing that POMC kind of offers is a parole block. So pretty much what that means is, if your loved one's murderer is convicted and they're in, you know, prison, a lot of times they go to prison with chance of parole. So what pretty much happens is we let POMC know, and they start a petition. So they circulate petitions to stop parole or early release from prison of loved one's murder. So, you know, they start a petition, and pretty much everyone who's ever been a part of the conference can get an email, or like we get known somehow, and we sign, like, pretty much to stop that person from getting out of prison, like, you know, the murderer and everything. So I can't tell you the endless support, and what I just told you is like an ounce of what this conference has done for me and my family, not let alone my faith. And like, I'm not trying to throw God at you guys. It's not like that. It's just, I think, because I really do believe in the afterlife. I really do believe that when you're born, you are given an amount, like a timeline. I sincerely believe that. And I'm not expecting y'all to believe that with me, but I personally believe that. And you know what? People might think, well, you believe that because it makes you feel better. And you know what? If it does, it doesn't. I can live my life, and that's fine. But this conference, more than anything, you guys, like, I can't thank this conference enough, and whoever introduced this conference to us, like, it really did change my life. And then for those of you who are still watching, because we're pretty much 20 minutes in, either one, you're actually pretty interested in this, or two, you don't have a life. No offense, but it's true. If you're not interested in what I'm talking about and you're still watching, I mean, more power to you. I don't really care. But the reason I say that is because the reason I actually did this video today, because I was waiting for another time to do this video, but I thought it was perfect for it to be the first video after, especially because the conference is this weekend. So obviously they're gonna hold the conference virtually. It's only $25, you guys. From what we had to pay, that's nothing. But we pay so much because obviously they provide all these amazing services and they provide food, and the food is really good. It's pretty much top notch. So that's why it's a little expensive. I don't remember how much it was. Like I told you, it's been a while for me. My mom would know, but my mom's not here, and I didn't know about calling her to ask her before. But this weekend on Saturday, I want to say from like 10 a.m. to like 6 p.m. I think. So if you guys know anyone who is going through it or has had a loved one murdered recently or anything, I really recommend that you guys sign up for this, what is it called, conference. Even though it's virtual, at least you'll get like a little taste of what it's really like to be a part of it and everything. It's only $25, and that way maybe next year, hey, we'll all be like, let's go. Because I told my mom already, I'm like, I want to go again, because even though I know what to expect, even though I've been to pretty much all the workshops, it's really nice to be there and support those who are barely coming in. And it's crazy to see how many new people you see a year. It's insane. It's like this conference keeps growing and growing and growing. So I really recommend you guys. I'll try and link it on my bio so you guys can go check out their website. And because I'm telling you guys, it's indescribable the amount of support you get from this, and the fact that you get to hang out and like talk to people who have been in your shoes pretty much, and maybe in a different way, but pretty much the same. So I think I'm gonna end it here because we're already at 22 minutes, and I'm thinking about uploading every Monday and Thursday. I was gonna upload yesterday, but can't even begin to tell you guys kind of day I had yesterday, so today was fine. But thinking about doing motivational Mondays, which is pretty much letting you guys know how I coped with this, certain different things. And then throwback Thursdays, which on Thursdays would be the day that I tell you guys stories about my childhood with my brother. So like, or stories about him, about time he got in trouble, or just stuff like that, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people would like to remember things about him, because I know a lot of people who are on here subscribed or actually watch this know my brother, and I'm pretty sure would love to hear stories about him. So yeah guys, I'm gonna end it here, and I hope to see y'all Thursday. Peace.